Budweiser have released another commercial. This one's very traditional and patriotic. Do Budweiser care about America, or do Budweiser care about money? Hello there, you 6.4 million awakening wonders. Thanks for joining me on this voyage towards truth and freedom, where we're going to have to learn to navigate the new and emergent landscapes and not fall into the traps set for us by a culture that does not love us, wants us dumb and consuming, distracted and divided. Turn on the notification bell right now. We make these stories every day and we want you to see them all. Today's story is a fantastic one. We're talking about the Budweiser commercial controversy. They made a commercial with Dylan Mulvaney, then they made a patriotic commercial. People feel outraged, but do Budweiser care about diversity? Do Budweiser care about blue-collar Americans? Is the best way to express your identity, whether it's a progressive identity or a traditional identity, I'm just using those words for convenience, is the best way to express that identity through commerce, through the purchase of commodities, and are they exploiting our tendency to emotionally attach to products that don't really mean anything except an opportunity to make money?
The ad coming 2 weeks after Bud Light's partnership with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney.
This month I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it.
Mulvaney's post drew the ire of some Bud Light enthusiasts, including celebrities like Kid Rock, who played target practice with the beer. What the new ad campaign doesn't offer is an explanation for Bud Light breaking away from its traditional male-oriented advertising in favor of a trans actress with 10 million followers on TikTok.
Okay, so I would offer this. Often people from formerly oppressed or currently oppressed communities see the affiliation with a big brand or a powerful institution as a kind of progress. And whilst that could be seen as demonstrating a new kind of inclusivity, I wonder if it's the right kind of progress, or I wonder if it's a kind of exploitation of a new and emergent meme or movement in order to make more money. I would offer you the question: do you want to express your identity through the products that you buy? And if you do, are you aware that that could lead to you being marketed to in ways that you're not fully in control of? Put simply, do Bud Light care about blue-collar, working-class Americans? Do they care about 10 million follower TikTok actresses? Do they care about anything other than selling beer to as many people as possible and creating the biggest profit possible? And attaching themselves to social movements, whether they are diverse and progressive or traditional, is simply a marketing opportunity. It doesn't mean that there is a deep connection. It's not beyond Budweiser to appoint people from different communities as spokespeople, even within the company, let alone temporary engagements like with advertisers and influencers, in order to legitimize what is simply a business. Is capitalism and consumerism the best way, whether you're a blue-collar American worker or a person who identifies in a progressive way, is it the best way to bolster your own identity and feelings of well-being? Because I would offer you this: they don't care about you at all.
Anheuser-Busch CEO Brendan Whitworth saying, "We never intended to be part of a discussion that divides people. We are in the business of bringing people together over beer." No,
you're in the business of selling beer to people. Even if beer is bad for people's health, bad socially, perhaps could be considered an irresponsible product, I should declare I'm a recovering alcoholic. I don't drink beer. Even if I did, I wouldn't drink Bud Light, because I don't like the idea of people trying to sort of touch me emotionally. Hey, you know what you believe in? We believe in it too. Buy our stuff. They don't care about you. They don't care about what you're going through, whether you have a traditional background or a progressive background. They don't care at all. They are using the culture war in order to sell beer. Maybe successfully, maybe unsuccessfully. The fact is, the motivation is simply to sell a product. We need to move towards models where we absolutely accept there are different ways of being an American, of being a human being, allow people to express themselves however they want to without harming others, and not allow ourselves to be tethered to marketing techniques that are deeply cynical and are ultimately underwritten by corporations that do not care about you or your liver at all. We can't make these beautiful videos, this fantastic content, without our sponsors. I want to tell you that this video is sponsored by Ridge, who make minimalist items like this beautiful wallet that will slimline your pocket. You don't want bulging pockets like swag bag saddlebags. Each Ridge wallet holds up to 12 cards and has a strap or clip for your cash. And they're only 6mm thick. So if your pockets had feelings, They'd be really grateful. Also, imagine if it's in your back pocket. You will give yourself a bad backache. There are over 30 colours. Did you even know there were 30 colours in the world? Amazing. And because they're built with durable materials, each wallet comes with a lifetime warranty. You will be dead in the ground and your wallet will live on. Ridge wallets have clever RFID blocking technology to stop your cards being copied. Good luck copying a card that's in a Ridge. And if you don't love your new wallet, just send it back for a full refund. Empty it first. We certainly don't want that claptrap back. To join the minimalist revolution, use my link ridge.com/Russell and save 10% of your Ridge order today. Ah, Ridge, you sweet son of a bitch.
Bud Light's marketing director has said the brand is in decline and needs to evolve and be more inclusive.
This story shows you precisely what Budweiser's intentions are, because they released an advert with Dylan Mulvaney and now they've released a new traditional looking commercial within weeks of one another, presumably for commercial reasons. The new TV commercial for Budweiser, which like Bud Light is also owned by Belgian company Anheuser-Busch, appears to be a pivot to return to traditional values for the brand, which historically appeals to blue-collar American workers. Budweiser is obviously the inspiration for Homer Simpson's preferred brand, Duff. It traditionally reaches a particular market, and if it is pivoting and changing, it will be for marketing reasons, not for ideological reasons. It won't be because they genuinely care. The way to solve problems of identity and culture is not through commerce and consuming. That is an economic, financial strata that has no ideology beyond the maximization of profit. Ultimately, they will endorse any product and use any technique that they are legally allowed to sell at the maximum amount of profit. That includes selling food that makes you sick, drinks that make you ill, drugs that don't work, energy that is bad for you, and causing wars to keep the military-industrial complex going. It's the same mentality, it's the same institutions. The idea that there's any ideology other than the pursuit of profit is ridiculous.
I'm a businesswoman. I had a really clear job to do when I took over Bud Light. And it was, this brand is in decline. It's been in decline for a really long time. And if we do not attract young drinkers to come and drink this brand, there will be no future for Bud Light.
So there it is. Older Budweiser drinkers are dying, possibly because of liver conditions, so they need to refresh their market. The tobacco industry has the same problem. All industries have the same problem. At scale, Facebook moving out of America and focusing on like the Philippines or Indonesia or Malaysia is the same idea. This is just commercial expansionism. It's nothing to do with ideals. Budweiser don't care about Dylan Mulvaney and her transition. They don't care about blue-collar Americans and the imbalance in their life between work and poverty and leisure, or American pastoral imagery. They will stimulate that affection and associate themselves with those images as long as it's profitable. Our duty as sensible individuals and as an awakening community is to see it for what it is and not get caught up in the phony discourse. Hey, Budweiser, that belongs to us. Budweiser belongs to whoever will pay for it. That's the end of it. They don't care about you. They don't care if you drink yourself to death. They don't care what happens in your life. They don't care what your gender is, what your identity is, whether it's progressive or traditional. And allowing them to set the framework for the conversation means that they've won. That's the same reason that you get to choose between this politician or this politician and ultimately end up with the same media and the same deep state. It's the same mentality. There is a monolith at the core of our culture, and pretending that there's diversity there is an absolute lie. Having evoked the ire of their former market with a progressive-looking advertisement, piece of propaganda, they are now attempting to re-engage the traditional market base with a more pastoral, conventional American commercial. Let's have a look at this piece of propaganda. There's a horse. The horse is thundering down a beach. There's a haze on a meadow. It's America. The horse is powerful, it's independent, it's alone, it's like you. Drink Bud.
Let me tell you a story.
I'm an American man with a deep voice. Drink Bud.
About a beer.
Don't tell me a story about beer. Tell me a story about advertising. Tell me a story about commodity. Tell me a story about a country that's so deeply unhappy that people have to drink themselves to death. They have to find ways of distracting themselves, ourselves. Speaking as a recovering alcoholic, if you can safely drink, then safely drink. But don't safely drink under the illusion that your drink somehow loves you. I'm this drink. I care about the drink and the drink cares about me. Like that horse running through America. They don't care about you. They don't care if you die. They've just shown you that they'll replace you with people who you might be predisposed to ideologically oppose because you've been culturally trained to. The place where we need to get to is absolute embrace, acceptance, and love of all people, that we may have power in our own communities, and not to get caught up in a phony conflagration that simply leads to the sales of a product that will give you liver cancer.
Rooted in the heart of America. Found in a community where a handshake is a sure contract.
That's right, buddy. In America, a handshake and a horse, that's what you can rely on.
Brewed for those who found opportunity in challenge.
Actually putting a flag up with someone that's meant to look Native American. The naked cynicism of it. Look, we did an advert. It's backfired. Here's another advert. Can we go back to selling you our product now? We don't want Kid Rock shooting any more cans. It's bad for business.
And hope in tomorrow. Raised by generations, willing to sip, share, risk, remember.
The actual Twin Towers, you're willing to go there. I mean, in the meeting where they discussed this advert, is there anything at all that's off limits that you wouldn't do? I don't know, try me. Well, would you, for example, show the site of one of the biggest injuries to the American psyche, the site of the Twin Towers, and then say the word, remember?
Remember.
Would you do that, or would that be too disgusting, too immoral, too exploitative of a cultural injury that many people are still recovering from? No, actually, that's a good idea. Let's do that. They have no values. That is the problem with our culture, is there are no legitimate principles. If you have legitimate principles like individual liberty and community freedom, then you have to say, I don't mind or even sort of care whether people's identity is progressive or traditional. I will treat people with respect. Real freedom means your freedom, not my freedom, because if I assure your freedom, you will ensure my freedom, and together we'll be okay. If we allow everything to be mediated by corrupt political parties, bullshit media, and blag adverts like this, we'll never do the stuff that needs to be done.
This is a story bigger than beer.
The only thing that's legitimate about this advert is that the whole story is horse shit. Unless that horse takes a massive shit now. This is what America really is. Just a big pile of horse shit. There is no legitimacy. There is no authenticity. I'm not saying that Budweiser are, by the way, particularly or especially bad. It's some human beings and economic opportunity. But don't pretend that a beer has a legitimate connection to any ideological, progressive, populist, traditional movement. It's simply about profit.
This is the story of the American spirit.
This bud's for you. The other bud was for they, but this one's for you. But is there anything else behind this attempt to use progressivism to promote beer? Corporations, including Nike and Anheuser-Busch, feature LGBTQ public figures, most notably trans star Dylan Mulvaney, to avoid losing crucial credit score points that could ruin their bottom lines. Lucrative deals and ideological advertising campaigns all play into a business corporate equality index. Businesses that meet the criteria and earn a maximum of 100 index points are awarded with a Best Place to Work for LGBTQ equality title, which 15 of the top 20 Fortune-ranked corporations achieved, according to the HRC. The CEI falls under umbrella entity ESG, stood for Environmental, Social and Corporate Governance. If a company loses CEI points, which can be due to issues such as failing to meet integration of intersectionality in professional development, skills-based or other training, their stakeholders can see the effects in their financial returns. So it's literally about money. They were never doing that to embrace the trans community and say, hey, do you know what? Trans people deserve a break. Bud's for them also. It was never that. It was, oh, look, this is a way to tick a few boxes. People coming together to share a bud is not the intention of Budweiser. It's to move the maximum amount of units. They can't afford to take an ideological position. Many of these commodities are struggling to survive in a newly fragmented and fractured marketplace where the culture war is kind of devouring itself. And I say that as a person that believes that the answer can only be to accept that people do human differently and to allow that to be the case and to love that. Because all of us are going to have a traditional Christian friend or family member. All of us are going to have a trans friend or family member. So we have to at some point map this onto our individual hearts and souls and free ourselves from hatred. Hatred in your heart is a tool for them. They can use that to hook you and drag you around like an idiot, voting for stuff that's no good for you, buying stuff that's no good for you. One of the key players catalyzing the dynamic is BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, one of the top shareholders in major companies including Nike and Anheuser-Busch, who oversees assets worth $8.6 trillion. So ultimately, that company only cares about profit. And that's not an indictment of that company or indeed those financial systems. They are what they are. This is simply an attempt to invite you to free yourself from the machinery of mass hypnosis and psychosis, which they are embedding in your mind. And this is going to be a time where we need to awaken. There's an AI revolution on the horizon. There's a project to surveil and centralize authority wherever possible. We do not have time for a culture war. There is no time for it. It's just like, oh, you're Muslim, are you? Bravo. Oh, you're trans. Fantastic. Oh, you're working class and super traditional and boys to boys. Lovely stuff. Fantastic. Let's move on and start dealing with what needs to be dealt with. Because do you notice that they seem to have a vested interest in us talking about this stuff and getting mired in it? And even we are apparently participating right now. But I only came here to tell you to get away from here. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat. Turn on the notification bell right now. If you enjoyed this video, have a look at either of these. But more important than any of that, please, if you can, stay free.